The Executive Commissioners of the God of High School Explained. Who are they and what are they? There are many of them in the webtoon, but season 1 of the anime only shows 7 of them. O, P, Q, R, S, T, and also X. The first 6 I mentioned are the most significant to the story. It's nice that they actually follow in alphabetical order starting from O to T. Those are the guys I'll be talking about now. Before we begin, just a quick spoiler warning. This video contains plot relevant spoilers up until the end of season 1 of the anime and episode 112 of the webtoon. Now that's out of the way, let's get straight into it. The Executive Commissioners are a group of people who work directly under Mujin Park. You can also refer to them as judges, which is based on older translations. In the newer translations they are known as the Executive Commissioners, or you can simply refer to them as the Executives or the Commissioners, which is what the anime uses to refer to them. In season 1, we see the executives recruiting, training and supervising the participants of the GOH competition under the orders of Mujin Park. Not much is known about Mujin Park's methods of recruiting people into the executive position. There is some information given later on in the series, which is to recruit GOH competitors who have made it to the quarterfinals and beyond. But it's not stated if this has always been the case, and of course, they get certain benefits for becoming executives. The reason for the existence of the executive position is due to Mujin Park's obsession for gathering young talent in order to help him achieve his goals. The executives are all individually pretty strong and can be compared to the priests of Nox in terms of fighting ability, but they fall significantly below bishops or members of the Six. All executives are made to wear limiters, which restrict their power, which is why we see that the bracelets that Mori and the others wear isn't able to pick up on the executive's power properly. Any among them who remove their limiter without permission are punished with 3 months without pay. Though there are special circumstances where Mujin Park lists the restriction, for example during the battle with Nox. Now let's get into the individual members of the executive committee. I'll be going over them in alphabetical order. At number 1, we have Executive O. O is a man with tan skin and white hair and is probably the strongest of the executives in season 1 based on webtoon material, at least when it comes to offensive capability. During season 1, he is only 20 years old, meaning he's barely older than Mori and the rest of them. Shows how capable he is. Executive O is the one who invited Mira to the GOH competition, and after seeing her violently destroy a group of thugs, he becomes afraid of her. He even averts his eyes when speaking to her. For his borrowed power, he uses a red female dragon named Changsik, which means he is a dragon slayer or dragon master. He can tame dragons. He tamed Changsik after an all-out battle lasting 7 days and 7 nights. He can use one of Changsik's tooth like a fiery sword. As a child, O had trouble socializing with people and had no friends, but he would have no problem with animals. Following that, at some point, he met Changsik and attempted to befriend her. She wanted no part of that, and so a battle took place. After 7 days and 7 nights, the battle was over and O came out on top. From then on, the two have always been together. Changsik is pretty much O's best friend and he cares a lot for her. The fact that O was able to best Changsik in a 1v1 is a ridiculously impressive feat, because Changsik's breath attack can potentially even kill those far stronger than O himself. O was originally pale skinned, however, his skin and hair became the way it is due to being burnt by Changsik. Yeah, that's not a joke. Another thing about O is that his borrowed power isn't like other borrowed powers. Since Changsik is a physical dragon who is a friend of his, it's more like he's getting help from a friend rather than borrowing power. I won't go into why that's a significant difference for spoiler reasons. Besides that, O cares a lot for the other commissioners. He is visibly angered when he hears Simbongsa was killed and even says that he'll never forgive the killer. He's also usually the one to stop Q and R from fighting, but if they fight when he's off the clock, then he'll just sit back and enjoy the show. At number 2, we have Executive P. She is a woman with blue hair and is basically the assistant to Mujin Park. She is seen by his side more than any other executive. She is the closest and most loyal to him. P is also the one who invited Manseok Gang or Kang Manseok to the GOH. We even see her getting annoyed or embarrassed when Manseok gets taken down by Mori. Executive P has the borrowed power of marionette, allowing her, amongst other things, to make puppets which look and act like real people. She uses her marionette to make puppets of Simbonga's wife and child to protect them against Drake McDonald. P doesn't have any major fights in the series, and he's usually seen assisting from the sidelines, for example what she does for Executive T's family. At number 3, we have Executive Q, who is personally my favorite executive. He's a man with green hair who smokes and wears glasses. He also has a really cool scythe type weapon and has cards which he can use for attacks and can do some cool tricks with them. Basically, he's a real badass. He has the borrowed power of Joker, which is one of the first borrowed power abilities we see in the story. Plus, it's one of the coolest looking abilities as well. One thing that's prominent in the webtoon, which the anime is ignoring, is Q's rivalry with Executive R, which I'll go into in a bit. Anyway, Q was the one who invited Dae Han to the GOH and even trains him later on. During the GOH local tournament, Q is made to fight Mori Jin, with Mori's continued participation at stake. During the match, Q officially loses, and despite being the one to knock out Mori in the end, he gets mocked by the other executives for losing. I mentioned before about the executives wearing limiters and the punishment for it. Well, that is exactly what happens to Q during his fight with Nox priest Drake McDonald. He isn't able to beat him while being restricted, so he decides to take it off. Obviously, he ends up getting a 3-month pay cut. Also, during his fight with Drake, they end up destroying Q's apartment building. Q is stuck paying for the damage costs, leaving him with a huge debt. After the incident, he becomes obsessed with money and it becomes a running gag. Thanks to Q removing the limiter, we were able to see that Q's GP shoots all the way up to 2500, which is far greater than anything we've seen up until then. Another interesting thing about Q is that he has probably the greatest drive amongst the executives to better himself and get stronger. Throughout the series, we see him wondering about how to get stronger and how much further he has to go. When Q finds out that T's family was killed, he gets pissed off, grabs Mujin Park by the collar and questions him about why he didn't protect them. During the same scene in the anime, we see Q breaking his way into the room rather than just walking through the door because of how pissed he was. This was when Q finds out that T's family is actually alive and also ends up having to pay for the damage he caused. At number 4, we have Executive R. He is a man with blonde hair and he is known for his grin or smile and for rarely showing his eyes. There is a reason why he smiles like that, but I'll save that for another video, which I might do later on. Anyway, R is the one who invites Mori Jin to the GOH competition. Not to mention, he's the man who gave Mori his first ever loss. Weirdly, the anime isn't paying attention to him at all. It's as if he doesn't even exist in the anime. Even though, from the webtoon, Q and R are the two most significant executives out of all of them. I'm not sure if the anime has even named him as R. A lot of the anime only people are just referring to him as Blondie, because that's what Mori referred to him as when he demanded to fight him. I feel bad for the anime only people who can't enjoy their rivalry, because when I first saw them, I felt like they would be the Kakashi and Might guy of the series, or even the Zoro and Sanji, which works as well, because Q and R have green and blonde hair just like Zoro and Sanji. Like the One Piece duo, Q and R always bicker, fight, and constantly try to one-up each other. Like I mentioned earlier, Executive O is usually the one who reins them in when they get too rowdy, so I guess that makes him Nami? Anyway, Executive R has an unnamed wind-related chariot. We know he had his arm broken by Mori during their little clash, but to be fair to him, that was while he was wearing a limiter. At number 5, we have Executive S. His real name is Gijumoon, and he is the one who invited Ilpio Park to the GOH. He's a man with red hair who is the most experienced out of all the main executives. In season 1, he has probably the greatest defense ability out of all the executives. He's able to fend off attacks from those way stronger than him. He's the same age as Mujin Park and actually took part in the 6 vs Taejin Jin battle at the side of the 6. The reason he was at the battle was because he was a student of a man named Paladin or Changju Moon, who is a former member of the 6. If you want more information on that, you can check out my video on the 6. Anyway, S got his scar across his eye from the battle against Taejin Jin, but Mujin Park was actually at fault for it, because he used S as a friend shield to block an attack, leading to S getting injured. It seems S is still mad about that, especially because Mujin Park still hasn't apologized for it, and barely even acknowledges that it happened, but this is played off as comedy more than anything else. His chariot ability is Paladin Siegfried, which gives him a massive defensive boost as well as healing abilities on top of added offensive ability. At number 6, we have Executive T, aka Sim Bongsa. He's the last of the 6 most significant executives of season 1. He's a blind man with black hair and wears orange triangular glasses. He's also a good swordsman, enough to gain the respect of the other commissioners. On top of that, he's a genuine fighter. However, according to him, he was blinded by a user of the Moonlight Sword style, the same style Mira Yu uses. In that regard, T teaches Mira about the true essence of the Moonlight Sword style. He teaches her about flexibility of thought required for the Moonlight Sword style. T also has a wife and young child. However, after his talk with Mira, T gets killed by Nox. One of the priests of Nox, named Drake McDonald, thought he killed T's wife and child. But as I mentioned before, the ones he killed were just puppets made with Executive P's Chariot ability. Later, Executive Q gets revenge on Drake McDonald for T, although he doesn't actually manage to kill him. Lastly, at number 7, we have Executive X. He's a man with black spiky hair and wears small round glasses, those old-fashioned ones that don't go over the ears. He replaces Executive T as the referee and announcer of the fights. We know the least about Executive X, so he's not as significant as the others I mentioned. But we do know that during a fight between Morijin and Tech Jagal, he got his arm broken trying to block Mori's attack while trying to stop the fight. Later, during the match between Ilpio Park and Tech Jagal, after the fight is officially over, he has his arm ripped clean off by Tech Jagal. When X tries to retaliate, he gets stabbed in the back and killed by Nox Bishop, Mandok Sang, and that was the end of that. Anyway, what do you guys think? Who is your favorite executive? Who do you think is the strongest of them? And who do you think is the weakest of them? This is Anime Talks 101, so let's talk about it. Comment down below, I wanna know your thoughts.